Yusuf Al-Mughrabi had hoped to become a professional football player one day, but he was shot while trying to collect food at a site operated by the notorious Gaza Humanitarian Foundation and lost his leg. The 21-year-old joins the list of thousands of new amputees in a devastated Gaza Strip.
I
used to be a football captain at Gaza Sports Club. I played professionally. My performance level was high. I used to run for many kilometers. My life has completely changed. I was never like this. Now, when I walk with crutches, I can't even go 15 meters. My shoulders hurt from using them.
Yusuf needs a wheelchair, but like other medical equipment here, they are in short supply.
With a wheelchair, my brother could push me, or anyone could help me. I could go outside and get some fresh air, sit with my friends, but now I'm confined 24 hours a day. The isolation has led me to a state of depression.
About 5,000 people like Yusuf have suffered injuries that will change their lives forever. The Artificial Limbs Center in Gaza City says Israel's blockade means it can no longer give wheelchairs to all its patients.
So far, we've managed to distribute around 205 wheelchairs, mainly to children and the elderly. But today, there are thousands of urgent cases needing wheelchairs, and we simply don't have them available. This creates a deeply catastrophic health reality for these patients.
The few that are available are old or broken. Sabri managed to borrow one, but says she cannot push herself on the uneven ground.
I got this wheelchair from my relatives, but it's worn out and old, and it needs repairs constantly. Because of the bombings and the damaged streets, even with the wheelchair, it doesn't help much. My movement has become extremely limited, and I rarely go out.
Hope is fading as thousands of amputees in Gaza wait for their turn to get a wheelchair. Under Israel's ongoing blockade, even the most basic right, the right to move, has become nearly impossible. Moath al-Kahlout, Jazeera, Gaza City, Palestine.
Zaid Amali is a Senior Advocacy Officer for Palestine Operations at Humanitarian and Inclusion UK, joining us live now from Ramallah. Thank you very much. How has this ongoing war affected individuals with disabilities? I mean, we've seen there that not just dreams shattered, but also bodies, and the conditions of Gaza now is making it so much harder for people with disabilities.
Indeed, this relentless war has left lifelong injuries and impact on people, and it has a disproportionate impact on persons with disabilities in particular. When we consider their movement with the lack of assistive devices such as wheelchairs, when we consider the vast amount of rubble, much of it is also contaminated with unexploded ordnance or remnants of war, when we consider the total blockade on aid and medical equipment, and whatever militarized aid schemes or airdrops are taking place are, of course, not just a drop in the ocean of needs, but also they're not inclusive for persons with disabilities and other vulnerable groups.
What sort of needs need to be met to be able to help people with disabilities? How are they even able to get hold of aid, for example?
They are not at the moment. The Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are starving, and it has a multiplied effect on persons with disabilities who cannot reach the deadly militarized aid schemes, who cannot reach the airdrops that are being dropped in dangerous combat zones or on top of rubble. What we need is for this war to stop. We need all aid crossing points to be reopened to allow food, fuel, and medical equipment and clean water to enter the Gaza Strip. When you consider fuel, for example, as well, it prevents the lack of fuel prevents transportation means for persons with disabilities, especially with movement disabilities.
You just mentioned explosions and, for example, maybe children picking up an explosive, and that's how they lose limbs as they sift through the rubble. Thousands of Palestinians have been injured by this war that Israel has carried out. It could have been avoidable. What sort of injuries are you coming across?
Of course, like you said, all of this is preventable if the war were to stop and the aid was let in. We are witnessing a lot of rising needs in terms of people losing limbs, especially the lower limbs, because of these explosions and the relentless bombardment in civilian areas. So we're witnessing a rising need. Gaza is now has the place for with 10 child amputees per day losing at least one limb. It's one of the highest numbers per capita in the world. So we need this war to stop, and we need the aid to be let in so that we are able to respond to all these rising needs.
And what would you say are the main challenges that people with disabilities face in Gaza right now? We just heard from one of those young Palestinians talking about feeling depressed because he's not able to move around easily.
Of course, the mental health and psychosocial support is necessary. What we know from numbers is that all children in Gaza face difficulties with mental health and feelings of depression and anxiety. The main challenges include, due to the relentless bombardment and the forced displacement orders, persons with disabilities cannot be on the move, especially when considering the lack of assistive devices and fuel. Another major challenge is, of course, the starvation that is affecting everyone, but like I said, leaving a disproportionate impact on persons with disabilities. Whatever ways the aid is being delivered right now is not inclusive for persons with disabilities. They cannot follow the airdrops in dangerous areas. The airdrops are creating chaotic scenes, stampedes, and for sure these are not inclusive for persons with disabilities.
And you were just talking about displacement, but I want to talk about the fact that there is malnutrition that's spread across the whole of the Gaza, especially among infants and children, a leading cause of disabilities, it seems. How so? Because you have malnutritioned mothers as well. How does that affect children, especially with those disabilities?
We know that malnutrition is a leading cause to disabilities, and we risk right now, there's a real risk of having an entire generation being born with disability due to malnourished and famished pregnant mothers. For example, babies could be born with cerebral palsy as a disability. We also know that malnutrition weakens the immune system, but also exacerbates existing health conditions.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Zaid Amali, Senior Advocacy Officer for Palestine Operations at Humanity and Inclusion UK.
Don't miss out and get full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.